Hello everybody, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com. And today we are going to be going into Firebase, the email sign up, sign in, and sign out. We are going to be going over Xcode 8. Going through this tutorial with Xcode 8.2.1, Swift 3.0. I set this tutorial to the beginner level. I like to give more beginner level courses by providing you guys with everything that you need to know, which is why my tutorials are so long. I just try to be a little bit more thorough. And there were a couple more things that I wanted to go into depth about Firebase, but I have to give you guys some type of foundation on how everything works. So I thought this tutorial would be a better starting off point, and I'll probably be going into other Firebase tutorials in the future. Probably once every week, I would think, but let's see what happens. So yeah, all you really need to know are the Swift language basics. Have some familiarity with class methods and how to call those, and then know how to use CocoaPods. If you know how to do these three things, then you'll be pretty much set for the tutorial, and you should have no problem. And I wanted to give a shout out to Nahid Raihan. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but he's the one that actually requested Firebase videos. So I'm going to be going through that. And if you guys have any videos that you would like to see or any topics that you would like me to cover, go ahead and send me a comment or tweet me on Twitter. All right, so let's get into it. And as always, I'm going to start off everything brand new for you guys so you can follow along if you'd like. Single view application is fine. We'll just call this Kilo Loco. Well, there shouldn't be spaces, but whatever. Loco Firebase email. And I'm only doing that because that's probably what I'm going to call it in Firebase. You'll see that. It doesn't have to, you could call it literally whatever you want, but it just makes more sense when the app name matches the app name in Firebase. You'll see that a little bit later. All right. Make sure settings are all like that, whatever's relevant for you. And then we're going to put this in KL Learning because that's where I put all my learning stuff, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. What I'm going to be learning you today. All right, so today, like I said, it's just going to be sign up, sign in, and then sign out. So I'm going to go into storyboards. Let's get all that set up. And it's not going to be pretty, guys. Let's just, let me just make that clear right now that it's not going to be a pretty sign up, sign in, or anything like that. I'm not that great with UI. I could do it, but I don't really even like doing it. I like more of the functionality type stuff, getting things going. And UI just takes up more time, and you already know that these videos are long enough, so yeah. All right, so I have three view controllers. One's going to be sign in, one's going to be sign up, and the other one's going to be sign out. And the reason why I'm doing three view controllers as opposed to just doing two, where it's sign in and sign up rolled into one, is because if you do sign in and sign up rolled into one functionality, if the user has already made an account and they happen to misspell their email address, then they're going to create a completely new account, and then they're going to have to sign out and then go through the process of signing in again just to get into the correct account. So we don't want that to happen. We want to have clear states, and we want to make sure that the user experiences the flow that they're expecting. All right, so this one I'm just going to rename it to sign in VC. Whoa, what just happened? There we go. Let's leave it like that. I'll rename the file to, come on. sign in VC. You listen to me. All right, so I just want to make these files so I could give them the proper class right away. Sign up VC. Yeah, that's fine. And then new file, and we will create another Cocoa Touch class, view controller, and this will be this would normally be your main, but I'm just gonna call it sign out VC because that's all the functionality that we're gonna have in there. You'd normally not have a sign out VC, but whatever, to make things a little bit clearer for you guys. All right, so for sure we're only going to need the view did load in the sign out VC. For sign in and sign up, since I'm doing everything in storyboards, I won't need these either. At least I don't think I'm going to need them. We'll see. I'll put them back in if I need it. The memory warning I definitely will not need. All right, so let's get this going. And okay, so for your sign, let's make sure that they're classed properly. So we want to make sure that this is the sign in, right? Go over here, make sure this is the sign up, and make sure this is sign out. There we go. All right, so normally you would have two like text fields, right? You'd have the email text field and the I'm not even going to do constraints. I'm just trying to make sure that you can see it. Actually, let me start off with a label so that we can also tell which view controller we're looking at. So this will be sign in, and then for the text field, I want to give it a placeholder of email because we're going to be signing in with email today. I know that you can sign in with things like social networks like Facebook and Twitter and things like that, but we're not going to cover that because that's completely separate documentation, and you should understand how the email works, and it'll make things a lot easier when you're going through the Facebook sign in and sign up and things like that. So learn one technology at a time and make sure you understand that technology before you start trying to combine stuff. This will be our password text field. And then we would have a button, and this button would just be like the sign in user button, right? And then we're also going to need another button that can take us to the login or the sign up page. Go to sign up, right? Because we need to be able to switch between those controllers. And we're going to just do the same thing over here. So we're going to start off with a label. And we'll just call this sign up so we know that we're on the right screen. Sign up. And this is going to be text field, right? Because we need well, usually when you have usually when you're signing up, you usually enter in a little bit more information. So what we'll do is instead of just email and password, which is fine, we'll do a username, right? Because nowadays a lot of people generally have usernames for their social networking sites. And to duplicate, if you don't know, you just grab something, you drag it somewhere else, and then you press Option, and it'll duplicate that object. So in case you didn't know what I was doing, so let me show you again. Hold on, you got to be able to grab it, drag it, press Option, and it creates a new one. And then we'll call this one password. Usually you'd want to probably have a second password field to check and make sure that they're gonna have the same password or whatever, but this will give you the general layout and idea of how things work. And then once again, we're going to have our two buttons. And this one will just be the sign up user button, right? User, and then we're gonna have the other button. This one's just gonna be go to sign in. All right, so we have those. Since these are just buttons that are going to be segues, we can put in their functionality right now by option control, or hold on, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. So Command Z to undo that. Control and drag, and we're just going to show this one, and then we're going to do the same thing for this. So Control and drag, and go here, right? Also, we want to add the functionality to go from the sign up to the sign out VC. So we're going to do show. And what we'll call this segue is we'll just call this sign up segue. And then we'll also need some type of functionality that allows us to do sign in to sign out VC, right? And we'll call this sign in segue. You can call this whatever you want. And then when you sign out, you need the, whoa, I forgot to control drag. You need to be able to go back into the sign in VC. So we're gonna add that. And for this one, we're just gonna call this sign out segue. Right, so we should have a reasonably functioning segue app, right? That's the beautiful thing about storyboards, is that you could just draw something up without any code, no code so far, right? And get these things going pretty much. I just want to make sure that we have the segues going back and forth. I won't be able to make it to the sign out page, but that's fine. We don't want to have a button that just takes you back to login. There has to be some functionality that we want to implement before that happens. All right, so nice and ugly, right? And we're in the sign in page. We're gonna go to sign up. Bam, sign up page. Have our 3 fields. Go to sign in. See, nice and simple. Pretty cool. All right, so because Xcode doesn't like that, let's go ahead and close it because my computer is starting to go crazy. And we're gonna start adding in all the things that we need to add in, or all the outlets, right? So we have our email, control drag, and we'll just call this email TF or text field. Control drag, password TF for text field. And then the sign in user. This one won't be an outlet. This will actually be an action. So on sign in tapped. And then we have to do the same thing for down here. And give us some room, man. Can't brief. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to have a username outlet. So username TF. Oh, you know what? Let me make this bigger for you guys that are watching on the phone. I'm sorry. A little bit better. A little bit better for you guys watching on the phone. Email text field, right? We don't want capitals. TF. Get our password. TF. And then the same thing with sign up, right? And this is going to be an action. On sign up tapped. All right, so we got that set up. and I just realized that we have forgotten to set up the sign out VC, so we have to, put a label. And what we're gonna do for this label is we're just gonna say someone logged in successfully. Or no, we'll just say hello. We'll just say hello because whatever. It'll be shorter. Hello, someone. Right? That seems to work. And then we'll also need a button to sign out, because this is the sign out view controller. Come on, guys, you already knew that. Sign out, right? And we want to connect both of these because we want to say hello someone's name, and we also want to give them the option to sign out. So let's go ahead and connect all that. So once again, oh no, I'm doing the wrong one. Okay, so let's undo that. So control drag, and we are going to do we'll just call this label. I don't know anything special to call it. And then over here we'll have on, oh no, not outlet, action. Make sure it's an action. On sign out tapped. All right, so now we have our visual layout visual layout set, right? We have the storyboards all set up, and this is how small your storyboards generally should be. Once you get into the app, it should actually go to a different storyboard, but that's a discussion for another day, guys. Come on, stay focused. All right, so we have everything set up. So now the next step would be to actually get everything set up for Firebase. So I'm gonna actually close this out because we're gonna have to do CocoaPods, and we're not gonna be working in the Xcode project anymore. We're gonna be working in the Xcode workspace. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that out, and we're gonna go over to firebase.google.com. And I'm already signed in, but all you have to do to sign in is just have your Gmail account signed in, right? And once your Gmail account is signed in, it'll be the same logo as your Gmail account. And then you just go ahead and go to console up here. All right, as you can see, I have a couple of these ones in here. We're just gonna add a new project. And Firebase is super awesome because it keeps it super easy for you. So what did I call this? I called this, I think I called it Kilo Loco Firebase. What did I call it? Email? What did I call it, guys? I have bad memory with some of these things. Kilo Loco Firebase email. Yeah, that's what I called it. Good job, Kyle. You did it. All right, we're going to call it that. Call it whatever you want. I'm just going to create this project. And the other awesome thing is all this stuff is for free. I mean, once your app gets big, then you will have to start paying for some of this stuff, but that's one of the awesome things about it. Whoops, I forgot. I shouldn't have closed my project. All right, so the first thing it's going to ask you for is your bundle identifier. And you don't want to just type that in. You want to make sure that you copy and paste it just to be safe. Make sure that everything's spelled exactly the way that it is in your project. So you just go to your bundle identifier, you click right here, go to the bundle identifier, copy this, and now we can close it, and then we paste it. And I don't know why I closed it again, because there's other stuff that we have to do in there, but whatever. I can open again. So make sure it's exactly as it is in your Xcode project. We're going to register the app. While that's working, I'm going to go ahead and open this back up. Oh, goodness, Kyle. You are messy. I know I am. Okay, let's minimize. Just make it a little bit smaller. So you have to download this, right? Download this info.plist, the Google Services one, right? Now be careful, because if you've been playing with Firebase before, what will happen is you'll get something like this. Watch. Google Service info-5.plist. You have to make sure that you remove that -5. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it right now, but once you put it into your project, you do have to remove that, or else it will not work. So I'm gonna go to all my files, just get the latest download. Or no, I have to go to downloads, because yeah. Anyways, it's right here. All you have to do, don't rename it. Drag it and just drop it. I'm gonna just drop it right next to my info.plist, because that's where Xcode decided to put theirs, so I'm gonna put mine right next to it. So see how it says Google Services -info-5. Make sure you rename that to just info. You don't want any -5, -2, any of that. And each of these are unique to the project, to the Firebase project, and to your project, so you can't like reuse them either. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and continue. Now we have to do the CocoaPod stuff. So go ahead and open your terminal and just change directory to the correct directory. Mine is under the desktop in KL Learning, and it's called what did I call it? Firebase, right? Yeah, Firebase email. Nope. All right, LS. Come on now. Oh, I called it Kilo Loco Firebase. That's why. All right, we changed directory in there. And let's see. Now we have to do pod init, and it tells you how to do all this stuff. Once again, Firebase documentation is really good. They tell you how to do everything. But you pod init, right? Now you have to open your pod file. Mine opens in Xcode because I set up the default, but yeah. And then you have to do pod Firebase core. So you're just going to go ahead and copy that. And you put it underneath the comment that says pods for whatever your project name is. I'll do a little indent right there. So pod Firebase core. Now, it doesn't show this right here in the documentation. It shows it somewhere else in the documentation. But just to save us some time, the other pod that you need to install is Firebase, and it's called auth, AUTH. So we're just gonna have those two. Make sure you save it and close. You go back to your terminal, pod install, and as you can see, it's downloading all those goodies. Still going. We did that. We're going to continue while it's still running in the background. And then the last thing that it says, all you have to do is you have to go into your app delegate, and then you have to go into your app delegate, and then in the application did finish launching with options, you just put in firapp.configure. You have to watch out because it is firapp right now. It used to be fir application, so if you're looking at some of the other documentation, it'll show it a little bit different, but your boy Kyle knows what he's doing. All right, pod installation complete. So now we're just gonna, is my Xcode project still open? If it is, I have to close it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and close this now, finally. And what we're gonna do is just open that directory that we're currently in, and we want to make sure that we're in the workspace, or else these things won't work for us. Right? And here we go. All right, we just open that up, and then what I usually like to do is after it finishes processing, I like to build it. Just do the build, not the run, but the build, so that everything is working. Like all the dependencies should be working after you build it. Not really sure why it doesn't work right away, but whatever. It's taking a while, so I'm just going to go ahead and import Firebase, because that's something that we have to do. Oh, it looks like it might be working already. All right, and then once again, right here in the top one, did finish launching with options. Oh, see, look at Firebase isn't working, so I just do a command B. That's going to build it, and it's going to realize, oh wait, yeah, there is a module called Firebase in there. Feel free to use it. There you go. Come on, come on, come on, right there. All right, see, it said successful. So remember, it's FIR app dot configure. That's all you really got to do. And now your app will, when it runs, it'll be ready to go. All right, so now you finally get to the moment that you've been waiting for. And that's actually implementing some of this stuff. So let's go ahead and start going. So what do we have to do? We got to get, let's first, let's clean this up a little bit, just so it looks a little bit prettier. Nothing wrong with having a pretty view controller. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So what do we want to do in the sign in VC, or no, let's do sign up, because we're going to need a user first before we're able to sign in. And we'll just put these a little bit higher, and see, it's a little bit prettier. So remember that whenever you're trying to use any of this stuff, you do have to import Firebase. And then what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and we want to make sure that all of our text fields, all of them have a valid text value. And then we also want to have an unwrapped value that represents that text value. So I'm just going to use a guard let. And this is not going to be pretty, guys. It's going to be quite ugly. But that's okay. You can make it pretty in your project. It's just that I'm not going to really focus on making it pretty in mine. Remember, tutorials are only supposed to show you how to do things. This is not exactly how you implement stuff in the real world. All right, so we have the username, and then we want to make sure that username is not equal to nil. Or no, not equal to this, right? And then we also want to do let email is equal to email and the text, right? And then we want to make sure that email is not empty. And then we want to do the same thing for password. So we'll do let password equal password text field dot text, and then password is not equal to empty, and then we'll just do else return, and that all looks right. Xcode is just line. All right, so pretty much if username, email, and password aren't empty, then we can move forward. And actually, let's just you know what, let's do some pretty stuff, right? Let's make an alert. Let's make an alert appear. So in case you don't know how to make an alert appear, I'll show you how to do that too. So I'm actually gonna put this in a new file. And we'll just do a regular Swift file. I'll just call this alert controller. That's fine. And then we'll do class alert controller. And this is actually going to need UI kit. This is not necessary, guys. I just want to be able to display to the screen in case we have an error, that we can have it pop up on the screen as opposed to looking in the logs. So what we can do is we can have a function, and this will actually be a static function because we need to be able to reference it or access it without initializing a alert controller class. So static func, and we'll just call this show alert. And then we're going to need to do in view controller, because we're doing the logic outside of the view controller, so we need to specify what view controller we're in. UI view controller. If you don't really understand any of this, don't worry. I mean, this has nothing to do with Firebase. This is just to make things a little bit easier on my end. String, and then message is going to be string. All right, so let alert equal UI alert controller. And then we want to initialize this thing with the title and a message. So we'll pass our title, whatever we're going to be passing from up here in the arguments, and we'll pass in our message. And then this will be of type alert. And then we need an action. So let action equals UI alert action. Initialize this with a string, and this will just be we'll just say okay, whatever. And then this will be .default. This will be just your default type of action, and we're not doing anything after we press this button, so we're just going to say nil. We have to add the action to the alert, so we say action, and then in view controller dot present, and then we want to present this view controller because the alert is technically a view controller. So alert and animated. Of course we want to animate it. We want things to look pretty, right? Except for our UI, that's all. And I'm actually gonna put an underscore right here so that we don't need to specify it when we call this. And like I said, if you don't really understand this, don't worry. I can do a whole entire video on this if we need it to do that. But it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and you'll see how this works. And the only reason I made a class out of this is because I'm going to be using it for both the sign in and the sign up view controller in case there's errors or whatever. So now we can use this, what we just made, the alert controller dot show alert. So now if it's missing any of these fields, and we'll say it's in this view controller, right? If it's missing any of these fields, we want to say there was an error, or we'll say missing info, something like that, and we'll say please fill out all fields, right? Something like that. Else return. And now that we know that we have all of these fields, now we can move forward and we can actually get into like the Firebase stuff, and we could create a user. So let's go ahead and do that. So you're going to do FIR, and we're going to do auth, and then you have to do auth again, and then you have to create a user. So see, create user with email, password, and then it has a completion handler. So we want that one. So with email, and we already unwrapped our email text, so we're going to go ahead and pass in email. With password, we're going to go ahead and pass in password. And then for the callback, we just press enter, and it will tell us, well, it's expecting a user, so we'll type in a user and error. Right? So now we can actually get into some of the coding. First, we need to check to make sure that there's no error. So guard error is equal to nil, else we'll do the return right here, and then once again we'll just do another alert controller. See how that is already coming in handy. We don't have to repeat ourselves. We'll do show alert, and we're going to do it in this controller. And for the title, we'll just say error. And then since error is not equal to nil, we can go ahead and force and wrap it. I mean, there's better ways to do this, but we're going to force and wrap it and get the localized description so that it's readable. And we'll just pass that in. Hopefully there won't be an error. So now we can move forward and say if let user, or we could do a guard. That's a little bit prettier, I think, actually, if I do a guard. So guard let user equal user, else for this one we'll just say return, because if there's no error, then there most definitely will be a user. And you should definitely be looking for more better error handling. Whenever there's a possible chance for error, you definitely want to handle these errors responsibly, especially when going to production. But I'm pretty sure if we made it to this point, then there should be a user. So let's just go ahead and assume that there will be a user. So now we have our user, and let's just make sure that we can see some of the info from this user. So we could print his email or their email, and this is an optional value because like I stated earlier, a user can sign up with different methods, different social networks and things like that. So they may not have an email, so that's why it's optional. So if we want to just get rid of the error, we'll just say missing email. So it'll print this instead of the other one. But since we're signing up with email, it will have it. There's no reason it wouldn't. And then another thing that is also very important that you're gonna want to know is the user ID, UID. And that's every user will always have a user ID, so that's why that one's not optional. So let me just go back and show you what's happening right here. So we're creating a user, right, with an email and a password, but we have a username that's not being used, and that's because Firebase doesn't currently support username signups. There's a couple of different hacks that you can do to get it to work, but when you start doing hacks like that, there's other things that become unaccessible or inaccessible, and that's why I'm not going to show you those hacks. If you're really interested in learning how to sign up with a username, then I mean, it's really easy to find a way to do it. There's a couple of different ways that are shown on Stack Overflow, but like I said, it causes some problems, and you definitely don't want to have those problems moving forward. But whatever. So anyway, if we're making sure that there's no errors, and we're pretty sure that there's going to be a user at this point, or else we're not going to move forward. It's just going to return, and then from there we'll print out our user ID and our user email. But we also want to save this user's username, and the way that we do that is we have to make a change request on their actual profile, or for their actual information. So since we already have the user right here, let's just go ahead and do that. So let change request equal user dot change. Why is it not working? Profile change request. That's what it was. So profile change request. And then one of the things that we want to change is the change request. So we want to change. We can do the photo URL if you want to add a photo to the user, or you could do the display name. And those are the only two that I'm really familiar with. I don't know if it has more. But all we're going to be doing right now is just changing the display name, and we're going to say the display name is going to be equal to our username, right? So now it'll have a username. But now, since we're making the request, we have to commit the changes. So we're going to do change request, dot commit changes right here, right? And then with a completion handler, right? So we just go ahead and press enter, and only thing that will happen is that there will be an error. So we'll do error, and in the code we'll just do guard error, or guard let. We'll do let error. No, because we're not gonna. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Sorry, guys. Error is equal to nil, else, and we'll just do another alert, and show alert in self, and we'll just do error, and we'll do the same thing as before, error dot localize description, right? And we have to return after that. And let's get this a little bit lower. There we go. And then if that is the case, if we were able to properly change this user's display name, because we're just signing them up, right? They just signed up, but we have to set up their username or their display name in that case, and we don't want to move forward and sign somebody in unless they actually have a username. So now, since we've done all that, we can actually perform the segue. So self.perform segue. Where are you? Perform segue with identifier. And then this one was just, we're doing sign up segue. That's the good thing about labeling your segues properly is, you don't have to really go back and reference it. But yeah. All right, so if all goes well, we should be able to sign up because we have everything that we need to do. And as you can see, it's considerably a small amount of code. Even with the change request, which is not mandatory, you don't have to do this, but we want our user to have a username, so we ended up doing this. All that was really mandatory was that you pretty much just call this and then perform some action if the user is valid. So let's go ahead and go to the SE, and we'll go ahead and open this up. And it's really cool because you get to watch all this stuff. Oh, hold on. I made a huge mistake. Hold on. Well, it's not, I don't think it's that huge, but I made a mistake that will definitely cause this not to work properly. So first you have to go over to your project, or you have to go to your authentication, right? And then you have to do a sign in method, and you actually have to enable email. If I didn't do that, then it wouldn't have worked. And I've been scratching our heads and been like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, see, you could use these to sign up. Sorry for the dog in the background. You can use these to sign up, but we're not doing those. We're just doing email. And then for users, we can see all of our users, but we have no users for this project yet. So let's go ahead and sign up. So this is sign in. Let's go to sign up. Username will be Billy Bob, right? Billy Bob. And he will be Billy Bob at kiloloco.com. And his password will just be 123456. And we're going to sign up user. Now, kind of want to make sure that you guys can see the logs while this happens. We don't really have anything printed out, but whatever. So sign up user with all this information. And as you can see, it did print out the email right here, and that user's ID, and we're in the actual sign in, or the sign out VC, because it says hello someone. We haven't set this up to say hello the username yet, but yeah, so we've actually made it that far. So we're halfway done. Now we just have to do the same thing for sign in. Oh, and let me also show you this. Watch this. So no users. Excuse me. No users. And then if I reload, look at that. Billy Bob at kiloloco.com. There you go. Bam. They don't give you any more information on this user, or at least I don't know of a way to access this information, because you want to generally keep some of that information private. You shouldn't have too much access to your user's information. It should just be overview of it, even for test data, because you want to make sure that your app is secure and you're not able to access important confidential information. And if somebody is able to hack into your system, they're not able to access that information either. So knowing somebody's email isn't really a big deal. I don't know about you, but for me, I usually put in my garbage emails. Anyways, so whatever. Alrighty, so now we finally get to do the sign in view controller. We still have to add some logic, and we're just gonna kind of start off by doing the same thing by making sure that our email text field .text values are not nil, and also unwrapping them with a variable that we can use for the Firebase function. So we'll start off with a guard let. And we'll do email is equal to email tf. Firebase isn't, Xcode's not working with me right now, so comma, and then we'll do email is not equal to that, empty string, and then we'll do let password equal password text field dot text, comma, and then password is not equal to an empty string, else return. Oh no, we don't want to do return. We want to make sure that we get an alert. And I should have showed you guys that. Here, I'll show you guys that right now. Oh wait, we can't go back. All right, whatever. But I'll show you how the alert looks right now. So we want to do the alert controller dot show alert in self, and that view controller with saying missing info, and then please fill out all required fields. Right, something like that. And then from here, now that we have our unwrapped values, we can go ahead and do the same thing for auth. Make sure you import Firebase. Not improt. What the hell? For auth, and then this time we're actually just going to sign in. And we want to, no, it's not time for gaming. What are you talking about? We want to sign in with the email, because that's the way that we're doing it. As you can see, you could sign in anonymously with other credentials. You could sign in with a custom token. Once again, we're only focusing on email today. So sign in with email. Go ahead and press enter, and we're going to pass in our email, pass in our password, and then we press enter on the callback, and once again it's going to give us a user and an error. Once again, we're going to handle the error the same way. Guard error is equal to nil, else, and then we'll do return, and up here we'll do alert controller dot show alert itself, and title will once again just be error. And we'll do error localized description. There we go. And I'll show you guys this in effect in a couple seconds, because it's pretty cool what Firebase does for you. All right, so now we're pretty sure that we don't have any, or we're positive we don't have any errors at this point, and we're pretty sure we have a user. So we'll do guard let user equal user, else return. And then once again, let's just go ahead and print out the user dot email. We can print that, and remember that it's optional. So we'll just say if if for whatever reason it is missing. So we'll just do missing email, print, and we should have a username at this point, or user display name. So we could print that if we wanted. Also, we should print their user ID, make sure that we have that. Man, I keep messing some of this stuff up. So yeah, all that stuff should print out. And then if we have all that, if we do have a valid user, then we can go ahead and we can perform that segue. So perform segue. Perform segue, and I called that one, what was it? The sign in segue? Something like that. Not doing anything with it. We're not sending anything. And that should work. So, oh, display name is optional because remember that that was something that we decided to do whenever somebody signs up, but user may not have a display name. So, missing display name. Yeah, so if we didn't add in that extra line of those extra the change request in our sign up, then the user would be able to sign in and may not have the display name. But since we did this change request right here, we're pretty sure he has it. But if not, we'll still print something saying missing display name. All right, and since we're already just going through this, let's go ahead and change up this label. And once again, import Firebase. And all we have to do for this, because we want to change the label to say hello to whoever's whoever's signing in, it'll just say hello. Oh, actually, I need to make a value. So let username equal what was it, for auth dot current user dot display name. And I believe that's optional, so we're going to want to unwrap it with a guard. Return. Because once again, display name is optional, and then all this other stuff is optional. So we want to make sure that it is there. And then username. All right. So instead of saying hello someone, if when we sign in, we should have the user's name. So for Billy Bob, I think his name was just Billy Bob, so it should say hello Billy Bob, right? And then if not, then it'll just say hello someone. And once you sign in with Firebase authentication, it will it'll give you like a reference from the current user. So you're able to reference the current user by just doing the for auth.auth and current user, and you can get their information from there. And since we're in here, let's just go ahead and add the sign out feature because it's really easy. So it's a function that throws, so you're gonna have to wrap it in a do catch. And we'll just do print error. And then we have to try to sign out. So we'll do for auth dot, is it auth, I think, dot sign out. Yeah. So then we have that, and then we also want to perform a segue. So perform segue with identifier, and this one was called sign out segue, right? Yeah. So when we tap on this button, it's going to see if we do have a user signed in, and if we do have a user signed in, then it will actually allow us to sign out. If this doesn't throw an exception, then we'll make it down here to the perform segue line, and it will perform our segue, which will take us back to the login. All right, I think that's all that we have to do. I think everything's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and run this code and see what we got. It's taking a little while, huh? All right, so we have our sign in. We can go to sign up. We just go back to sign in, and then I remember the user's username or email. So I can just type that in. But we'll go ahead and go through the entire process one more time just to make sure that everything's working as expected. So Billy Bob at kiloloco.com. Right, and then his password was 12345 6. Oh, you know what? Let me show you this. So we know that this is the user's name or the user's email, right? Let me show you this. Remember, we have the alerts set up. So if I do sign in user, there is no user record corresponding to this identifier. The user may have been deleted. So this is directly from Firebase. As you noticed, all I did was put in the error localization description or localized description, and when you get an error, Firebase will send back a human readable error message that you just pass in, so that you can keep your code very clean, neat, and just generic like this, and have the error send something that a user can actually read, so they know that Billy Bob at kiloloco.co does not exist, right? But if we do com, that'll let us sign in, so we don't want to do that, right? And also I wanted to state that you do have to have a minimum of 6 characters for your password when you sign up. We can see what happens when we try that, but yeah. Anyway, this is the incorrect password. Let's go ahead and try to sign in the user with the incorrect password. The password is invalid, or the user does not have a password. So for sure the user has a password, and we can't even do this because the error will pop up because we have a missing field. Remember, this is my error. But yeah, so the error handling is awesome with Firebase, and this is the right user sign in. So hopefully we'll be able to sign in properly. And hello, Billy Bob, see? Because it has our display name. And then since we're signed in, we should be able to sign out. And we're signed out. Look at that. All right. So let's go over to sign up and let's make a new user. And then this one will be Kyle at kiloloco.com. And that's my actual email address if you guys want to send me something. That's cool too. Oh, wait. We're doing username. So my username is always kiloloco, and this is my email. Yeah, kiloloco.com. And then my password will also be 12345. Let's see what happens when I just do it as a length of 5. The password must be 6 characters long or more. See? Isn't that awesome, guys? Firebase is doing all this for you. It's telling you, it's giving you minimum requirements. It's checking these things. Watch this. If I just do it like this, it's like this is not a valid email address. The email address is badly formatted. Oh, well, I mean, they could have said it in a better way, but they're doing all this work for you. It's really cool. It's really, really cool if you ask me. So yeah, so we're gonna create this username kiloloco and the email is gonna be Kyle at kiloloco.com. Password is gonna be 12345 and we're gonna sign up. Hello, Kiloloco. See, isn't that so cool? That's super cool, guys. Like, you see my user ID and all this other stuff. I could sign out. I could sign back in at kiloloco.com. 12345 Look at that. Back in. Show you that it's not a fluke. Billy Bob at kiloloco. .com, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Or actually, did I show you guys what happens if you put in the wrong password? Invalid. Yeah, I showed you that. I showed you guys that. Okay. So yeah, see, hello Billy Bob. So that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, I mean, Firebase is a really awesome tool, especially if you want to start playing and making full stack apps. This will get you up and running. You can make your own beautiful UI, and you could get a login page that's actually capturing users. Because if I go back over to Firebase and I update this, instead of just Billy Bob, it's going to be Billy Bob and Kyle. Watch. See? Look at that. And there's a couple other things that you could do. You can have them like set it up so you could set it up so that you could do forgot password or things like that. They can send emails to the actual email address. It's really cool. So if you're just learning how to do Firebase, then definitely look further into it. I'm going to be doing tutorials on this probably every week. Do a different aspect, because Firebase gets really deep, and I wanted to show you guys how to use the database. But for you to know how to use the database, you have to be able to access the user's ID and all these other things. So I like to give you guys beginner tutorials so that you have a jumping on point, because I don't think it's fair when you're forced to just jump into something that's pretty deep, right? And I already made a repo for this, so let's go ahead and get all this code committed so that if you guys are interested in the project, you can do that. Remember that when you do when you pull this or clone it, I think you still have to run the pod install, so it may not work unless you do the pod install. So just keep that in mind. So it's on the desktop. It's called KL Learning, and it's Kilo Loco Firebase email. Do git init, git remote, add origin, and it's this origin. And we have to pull origin master. Have to type in your password. And we have to add all our changes. Yes, I did mean dash. And then add a commit, git commit -am, and we say finished tutorial, git push origin master, put in your password. And it's going up there. Wow, it's taking a while, huh? Anyway, while we wait for this, anyway, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in the comments or on Twitter at kilo_loco. I'm always willing to help. If you have any videos that you would like me to do, any tutorials, then feel free to send me that, and hey, you'll even get a shout out on the video. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for watching this super long in-depth tutorial on something super simple. But sometimes I just think it's better to have a full understanding of what's going on, as opposed to me just flying through some of this stuff and not explaining what's happening in each line or my thought process. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find the repo here, and all the information will be in the description. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe. Whenever I see thumbs up and subscribes, it always makes me feel good on the inside. So thank you guys, and hope this was helpful, and I will be reaching out to you again probably later on today. I have to do another video, so yeah. All right.